The Manticore's engines hummed, a steady rhythm in the deep void of space. The crew had been through hell. The anomaly, the strange distortion that had torn their lives apart, was now a memory, a scar they could not escape. Elena stood in front of the observation window, staring into the infinite blackness. The stars blinked back at her, distant, uncaring. She could almost feel the ghost of the anomaly, like a shadow that still lingered on the ship. "Captain," Kai's voice broke through her thoughts, bringing her back to the present. "You need to see this." Elena turned, eyes narrowing as she walked to the communications console. Kai, the ship's chief engineer, had a frown on his face as he tapped rapidly on the screen. "It's not gone," he said. The data on the screen flickered, lines of code flashing before her eyes. There was something there, something faint, but unmistakably familiar. A signal. "Is that?" Elena asked, her voice trailing off. "Yes," Kai replied, a hint of disbelief in his voice. "It's the same frequency as the anomaly. But, weaker." Elena's stomach churned. After everything they had gone through, to think that the entity might still be out there, hunting them, was enough to send chills down her spine. She had hoped they were done with it. But this? This wasn't the closure they needed. "We've escaped it, haven't we?" Matt, the communications officer, asked from his station, his voice filled with concern. Elena hesitated, her fingers gripping the edge of the console. "I don't know. But I won't risk it." She turned to the crew, determination flooding her veins. "Prepare the ship. We're going after this signal." The Manticore surged through space, heading toward the coordinates they had traced from the strange signal. The crew was tense. Every single one of them had been marked by the anomaly. No one had forgotten the cold, unsettling way it seemed to know them, watching, learning, adapting. "We're closing in," Matt said, his eyes scanning the data on his terminal. "The signal's getting stronger. Whatever it is, it's close." Elena's jaw tightened. She had to make sure this wasn't another trap. If the anomaly, if that thing, had somehow learned from their encounter, they were walking into the unknown again. But they had no choice. "Keep your eyes open," Elena said, her voice steady but laced with an undercurrent of urgency. "We don't know what we're walking into." Suddenly, the ship lurched, throwing the crew forward in their seats. A violent shake rattled the Manticore's frame. Lights flickered, and alarms blared. Kai was at the console in an instant, fingers flying over the controls. "What the hell was that?" Matt asked, struggling to maintain his balance. "Something's pulling us in," Kai said, his voice tight. "The signal, it's not just a signal anymore. It's a force. Can we escape it?" Elena asked, her heart pounding. Kai looked up, eyes wide with shock. "Not unless we can break free. We're being pulled into a rift in space. It's like the anomaly is calling us back." The ship shuddered again. Elena gritted her teeth. "We'll fight it. Whatever it takes." The Manticore had entered the rift, the vastness of space distorted around them like a dark, liquid void. Stars were no longer just distant points of light, they seemed to bend and stretch in impossible directions. The crew was barely holding it together as they fought to maintain control. "Pulling us deeper," Kai shouted over the noise. "The rift is collapsing around us." Elena's heart raced. She'd known this wasn't going to be easy, but the sheer power of whatever force controlled the rift was overwhelming. They were drifting deeper into it, unable to break free. "Get us out of here, Kai," Elena ordered, gripping the armrests of her chair. "I don't know if I can," Kai said, frustration in his voice. "This is unlike anything I've ever seen." The lights flickered again, and then the ship fell into darkness. For a moment, there was nothing but the weight of silence. No hum from the engines, no alarms, just a crushing emptiness. Then, in the blackness, the Manticore began to glow. Strange symbols, alien, unfamiliar, appeared on the walls. The ship's systems buzzed to life, but it was a different kind of hum, one that felt unnatural. "This is it," Kai whispered. "This is the heart of the anomaly." Suddenly, a voice echoed through the ship, a voice that wasn't human. "You are not supposed to be here." The crew froze, fear crawling up their spines. The voice was everywhere and nowhere, all at once. It wasn't in their ears, it was in their minds, speaking directly to their thoughts. Elena swallowed hard. "Who are you?" she demanded, her voice shaking but resolute. The voice replied, its tone dark, ancient, and deeply unsettling. "I am the one who watches. I am the one who learns. You cannot escape." The voice resonated inside their heads, a chill of terror crawling through their bodies. The ship was no longer in control, it was in control. The Manticore's crew was at its mercy. "You have to fight back," Elena said, gripping the edge of the command console. "We've survived worse. We've overcome worse." Kai's fingers trembled as he attempted to regain control of the ship. "It's too powerful. The Anomaly's consciousness is taking over the Manticore's systems." "We can still fight," Matt said, his voice strained but determined. "We're human. We've survived things that should have destroyed us. We won't let this be our end." Elena's eyes hardened. "You're right. We've beaten every obstacle in our path. And this is no different. We will fight for our survival. For humanity's survival." The crew stood together, their resolve forming a wall against the darkness. Elena knew what she had to do. It was time to confront this force head-on. "Activate the emergency override," Elena commanded. "We're not giving up." Kai's hands moved swiftly, bypassing the ship's corrupted systems. The Manticore shuddered violently, but something inside it clicked back into place. They weren't in control yet, but they were close. Suddenly, the voice boomed again, furious and frantic. "You cannot win. I will consume all. You are mine." But Elena's eyes narrowed as the light of the stars shone through the rift. They were humans, and nothing could ever break their will. With a final, desperate push, the crew activated the last weapon, a pulse that overloaded the Anomaly's consciousness. The rift crackled, and for a moment, everything went still. Then, explosion. The Manticore shot free, hurtling back into the familiar cold of space. The stars around them were silent, steady once again. Elena stood, her legs unsteady, but her spirit unbroken. "We're free," she whispered. "But the fight will never truly end."